welcome to my sunny front yard. I am sorry if you can hear either the wind chimes on my front porch or the guy down the street mowing the lawn, but it was just way too pretty to not do this outside today. It's a little on the windy side, hence the really loud wind chimes. I don't think you can't see them. They're right back there. But this is my house, and I am taking advantage of the nice weather today. It is Monday the 27th. This is a week and a day before you're actually going to be seeing this. But I think the rest of this week is supposed to be rainy and gross, so I didn't want to be inside today. You're watching this on a Tuesday. I don't have my tiara, but I do have my sunglasses, which are like a beach tiara, I decided. All right, so some reminders. We only have a couple weeks left. Also, they're going to be small assignments with this paper to give you some points, but I am going to unlock everything all at once for the last 2 weeks. Okay, so you can kind of go it at your own pace. There will still be deadlines where I want you to have things done by at least, but if you want to crank this paper out in a day, the only thing that you will have maybe a little bit of a difficulty with is you are going to have to find somebody to peer edit your paper. So that could be a parent, that could be a sibling, that could be another classmate, that could be anybody. But if you're not doing it like on the scheduled day, you might have issue finding somebody to look at it for you or not. Okay, but that's the only snafu I see. I hope your books are going well. Technically, mine's not finished yet because we don't have to have the books finished until Friday. But I hope you enjoyed your books and are ready to write these papers. Again, we're doing MLA formatting, so nothing you're not familiar with. Yeah, I kind of think that's really all I need to tell you. Today's lesson technically is about... oh shoot, now I don't even remember. Are we thesis statement or just introduction today? I can't remember. I think we're thesis statement today, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. But you know what? I've been wrong before, and so far you still keep coming back. So I think that you kind of know that's how I operate. But anyway, I'm going to stop recording here, refresh my memory on what lesson I'm going to be teaching you, and we'll be doing a screen recording. So you won't be able to see the sunshine, but at least you'll be able to hear the wind chimes maybe, or at least my neighbor mowing his lawn. Take two on this bit. I just got a new laptop, and I didn't apparently have it to where my microphone was set up when I was doing a screen recording. So, yay, I get to say all of this again. It's just like having fifth period. So, first take was fourth period, second take, fifth period. Hi guys from fifth period. All right, so I'm tweaking this just a little bit because this is geared for literature and you guys are writing your book about nonfiction. So, pay attention to where I'm switching things up a bit. All right, so in your introduction, some of you still have not mastered this. You need to go from broad to specific. So there are a couple of ways you can do this, even with nonfiction. You can start with a broad topic or a broad statement about your topic. So for me and my book, that would be like spying during World War II or something like that. And then I would get more and more specific from there. Or I could start with a broad statement about my novel, or in this case, not my novel, but my piece of nonfiction. So I would start broad, maybe about Ernest Hemingway and his role in World War II as a spy. Okay, so that's how I would start out. Then you're going to narrow it down and get more and more specific. So depending on how you started broad, you would connect statements that continually get more and more specific until you're ready to go into your thesis statement. But a few things that are important, whichever method you choose, don't forget to work in the title of the book. Now, pay close attention here. Install flashing lights and LED whatnots in your notes. Book titles get italicized. Okay? If you do not italicize the title of your book on this paper, I am not going to give you an A. It's going to be a deal breaker. So help each other out when you're doing the peer editing. Make sure your person has italicized their book title. I know you guys learned how to do that in elementary school, and you are in a 10th grade honors class, so you need to have that worked out by now. And your author's name. Now, if you did a memoir so that the subject of your book is also the author, make sure that you mention that. Otherwise, for me, my author is a totally different person than the subject of my book. Okay? Don't include any irrelevant information. Don't try to be really witty at the beginning and have like an attention getter. Those are good for speeches. But in an academic paper, you don't want like a joke as your opening line. Okay? So keep it relevant, keep it academic. And then as always, your last sentence in your introduction will be your thesis statement. Okay, so now talking about your thesis statement. Some of you are all good. Some of you are more like Rambo here when you're trying to write a thesis statement. If you don't know where to start on your thesis, it's best to start with a question, not in your introduction, but just in your head as you're brainstorming. So for example, my rhetorical question for my book might be, what was Hemingway's role as a spy in World War II? Okay. We don't need to worry about so much this down here, this originality. Oh, you can't see. Oh yeah, you can. This stuff down here is not as important because you all aren't writing about the exact same book. Okay. So a few of you are doing the same book, but it's fine. So don't worry so much about the bottom of this slide here. Okay, so in this slide it talks about how you can have a way too vague thesis statement. So a way too vague thesis statement for my book would be Ernest Hemingway worked as a spy for the United States during World War II. Okay. Or he had a pivotal role as a spy, okay? Because that's basically the entire topic of my book. This guy wrote 300 plus pages on it. I'm not going to summarize it in 2 pages with that same thesis statement, okay? So the problem here is it is way too vague and not, mine is arguable, but it's very vague, okay? So I'm going to take my answer and make a better question. So my answer was that he played a pivotal role. So my next question might be, where did Hemingway where did Hemingway accomplish much of these tasks? And my better answer would be that he used his house in Cuba, in Havana, as a spy base for both spying on U-boats near Cuba and Florida, but also to host foreign dignitaries. Okay, so I could concise it. I'd make it a little more concise than that, but I would talk about his home and that base. The author talks about that a lot throughout the whole book. But there's way more to the book than just about his house in Havana. So it's a good specific thesis statement. And then in my paper, I would talk about the different ways he used it as a base. Okay? And you could ignore that. Obviously, that was an assignment that we did before. Now, in the next bit, I recorded this before I re-recorded this. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that thesis statement I gave you was actually too vague. So there'll be a little redundancy there, but I'm not going to re-record that part as well. So sorry about all of the faux pas today, but life. Okay, I hope you're doing well, and don't forget to listen to the last little bit because I do have some important information for you there. Okay, so we're in my backyard now. You can see my grill behind me. The guy next door, or across the street rather, is still mowing his lawn very slowly on his riding lawnmower, which is really humorous because our yards here are like a quarter of an acre. It's absurd. I can mow this with a push mower in less than 20 minutes. But anyway, you do you. Okay, so for today, you're going to be writing your thesis statement and your introduction. Tomorrow, you're going to be going we're going to be talking more about your works cited page and how to incorporate quotes into your paper. And like I said, if you get your stuff turned in early or on time, then I will let you know if your thesis statement is not specific enough or if you need some help wording your introduction correctly. The biggest takeaways are make sure you italicize the book titles and make sure you include the author's name. You can give us a brief summary of the book in general, but then go into your specific topic. So, to be honest with you, my example that I gave earlier in this recording, I just listened back to it, is really way too big. That, like, the guy wrote an entire book about that exact topic. So probably what I'll focus mostly on is not just that he helped spy in World War II, but specifically how he used his home in Cuba as kind of like a spy base. So I'm going to focus just on that aspect of the book. Okay. So there you go. Let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, I hope to see some more of you on Thursday. Thank you for those of you who have been coming. We've been having a lot of fun playing Zoom around the room, but we can also do like serious stuff and talk about like papers and whatnot. So just let me know if you need help, and I'll see you on the flip side, bros.